here now is Reverend Scott.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did I get that birth date
Yes, you
correct?
did. That's right on the button there.
Perfect. As we welcome Cindy from
Okay.
Connecticut. Welcome, Cindy. Okay, Reverend Glenn.
Okay, great. So nice to be with you all again today. Got a good crowd today. Thank you. I love that we have people from over the seas. It's a bigger group than we could ever put in one room. I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
From up.
yeah, the subject today is well, it comes from the fact that we have so many elements of strife in our news, and often we allow those to come into our lives, and we hear people saying that they're going to pray for peace. Pray for peace. And I wonder if they really know for what they're asking, because there's nothing about spirituality that guarantees peace. In fact, it is the antecedent of peace. The ancient sailor's worst nightmare was to become becalmed at sea with no current and no wind. Peace was not to their favor. No movement meant certain death, and spirit is not unlike that. And spirit does not exist in a state of peace. Spirit is in a constant state of creation, and it needs chaos to reveal new ideas, to freshen its wind and stir its currents. You've heard me say, and it is a tenet of our teaching, that all things exist in spirit. Every idea, the answer to every question is in the very ether that is spirit. So, how then is it that spirit needs this chaos, this human interjection, to continue its creative process? If everything already is, how is spirit to make more? Well, think of it like a dictionary. And for our purposes here today, I will limit myself to an English language dictionary, but they do exist for every written language, so let your mind run wild. All the words are in there, but read page by page, front to back, and we learn only how each word is pronounced, what it means, and how to use it in a sentence. Nothing more. Take those same words, however, and put them in a medical textbook, and we create the ability to share knowledge that can save lives. Give them to an engineer, and there's no limit to the things they can design and teach others to build. A navigator using those words can go anywhere on Earth and even to the stars, all using the same words that tell us nothing when they are hoarded safely in the dictionary. We can use those words to accurately record our history or use them to build a false narrative of lies. And we can do that on a global scale or within our own mind. This is the chaos that spirit seeks from us. The freedom to use all that is at our disposal in unique and beautiful ways. Spirit has given us the gift of perfection and an unobstructed path straight to it. And Spirit has given us the ability to turn that unobstructed path into a briar patch of torment and torture. We learn separation, and chaos ensues. We develop language, and depending on where we live, that language varies. But babies all speak the same language. Any person can communicate with any baby and be understood. Why? Because a baby is still uncontaminated by knowledge. A baby is still communicating as spirit. A newborn is a manifestation of spirit in its purest physical form, still fully united and unfettered by humanity's chaotic common consciousness. Spirit has created for us this freedom of choice thing and turned us loose into life with no manual, no quick start guide, and only the most nebulous guardrails to assist us. Note the use of the word assist in that statement, not protect. Assist. Where do we see guardrails in life? Guardrails are placed along highways to help traffic stay where it belongs or along the edge of a balcony so we don't accidentally walk off the edge. Any determined driver can blow through a guardrail with only minimum effort, but if death and destruction is not our goal, the guardrail can assist us in maintaining control, giving us a second chance to regain control, or at least experience a survivable landing. The guardrails are that feeling in our gut, that little voice in our head, that inspirational dream that turns us in one direction or another instinctively, quietly, with no perceivable force applied. Guardrails are passive. Another logical question is, why does Spirit gift us with this chaotic common consciousness? Why are we launched on this perilous journey whose only successful conclusion is to return to our starting point, perfection? The prolific American writer and Franciscan priest Richard Rohr writes, the symbolic meaning of Moses breaking the first tablets of the law only to go back up the mountain and have them redone, as told in Exodus. The second set of tablets emerges after a face-to-face encounter with God. Recall the first time he spoke to a burning bush, a mysterious, disembodied voice. And that changes everything. Our first understanding of law, he writes, must fail us and disappoint us. Only after breaking the first tablets of the law is Moses a real leader and prophet. My first experiences with religion, organized religion, were less than successful outings. Partially, of course, because my teachers were flawed. They were teaching from broken tablets, sourced from a disembodied God who employed fear to impose order where no order could be found. It was only when I learned to see Spirit in my own face and the face of others, when I understood the power is mine to employ, not a power to be feared. Only with this new understanding that chaos and not order is the natural state of an ever-evolving spirit could the concept of peace emerge. Growth is a principle of spirit. It exists to constantly evolve and does so by enlisting our freedom of choice to suggest unique experiences. The science of mind is the process of trial and error. We choose an action and experience its consequences. Sometimes we make poor choices. Spirit does not judge our choice, but also does not filter the consequence. In science and on our journey, failure is always an option. How we use failure is the test of our understanding. Thomas More writes in Care of the Soul, if we do not grasp this alchemy of failure, then we stand a good chance of never succeeding. Comprehending the mystery in failure and acknowledging its necessity allows us to see through our inabilities and not overly identify with them. By appreciating failure with imagination, we reconnect to success. Now, Thomas Edison is reported to have said he successfully identified over 6,000 ways to not make a successful light bulb before stumbling across the one that worked. Are we any less capable of recognizing an error and setting a new course? Are we doomed to sail off the edge of the earth because we refuse to accept its spherical shape and the existence of gravity? Scott Aubrey writes, when we experience a setback, what some may call a failure, we do well to bring our attention to the pattern of perfection at the center of our being, understanding that the kingdom of the divine is within us and that thoughts of lack or limitation are stifled in this sacred space. There are no failures, only course corrections. I press on toward the prize of the mark of the high calling of God, he says. Even at the moment of your failure, right then, you are beautiful. You don't know it yet, but you have the ability to reinvent yourself endlessly. That is your beauty. And that's from The Beauty of Being a Misfit by Lydia Yuknatovich. Now, I think one of the most puzzling challenges is the relatively short time each of us gets to play on this earth. In our hubris, we feel the solutions to all problems should be developed within our own lifetimes. Our return to grace should be at hand, and the experience of marching through the gates of heaven is our birthright. Well, surprise. I have lived through a few decades, some of you have as well, and we've seen mass evolution in society. We have seen long time held wrongs righted and have come to recognize we still have a long way to go. And we can feel extremely disappointed that problems we thought had been solved are still there. Beliefs that we long since released are still held by so many. And internally that is so painful. Well, it turns out the journey is the destination. We are not here to solve the world's problems by ourselves. We are here to recognize that we are all one. We are not here to compete against each other, but to join seamlessly into the infinite, moving as one. We are not here for the glory of being the only one who can solve the problem. We are here to recognize the beauty and the glory of everyone. Join with everyone mentally, if not physically, and recognize that when our mind accepts their mind or your mind or whoever's mind as part of this one big mind of spirit, when we recognize that we are a team and must work together with every thought, we move toward the gates of heaven. We are given the example of our visible universe. Within our own minds, we struggle to find meaning in our lives, yet others see us as solid, if not sometimes messy, members of society. I know people look at me and they see Reverend Glenn, who's got his act together, knows this stuff inside out and backwards, and never has a problem in his life. Well, I'm here to tell you, not quite my experience. I think you can identify. Within our families, we love and fight without hesitation, nor often reason, yet others see us as members of our community. Why? Because generally most of us have learned not to air our dirty laundry in public. We have our little fights, but we keep them inside. In our politics, well, don't get me started. Yet others, looking over the wall, think, what a great place to be. I will sacrifice everything to be part of that community because they've got their act together. You know, our schools have maps with borders drawn in, and conflicts are up daily along those borders, yet the view from space is of a beautiful, tranquil blue and white ball. Itself in orbit around one of billions of stars. Each star is a massive cornucopia of catastrophic nuclear explosions, and yet when we look into the night sky, we see only suggestions of ancient stories, or perhaps the hope of finding our way. Chaos is in the eye of the beholder, and peace is only a state of mind. The peace we pray for, the absence of war, is a noble goal, but the absence of conflict, the eradication of chaos, would be the end of us all. Spirit has many more books to write, using just those words found in the dictionary. It needs us and our unique talent for scrambling those words into previously unrecognized combinations to continue creating the infinite. Maybe one day the sun will rise and the work will be done. We will have seen the light and learned our spiritual truth. We will think and move as one. We will put love first and forever, seeing God face to face. Not in one lifetime, but in the evolution of humanity, the common consciousness arcs back onto itself, and the circle is complete. My only fear for that time is that on that day, on that wonderful, beautiful day, on that day of days when the journey of our consciousness is finally complete with everyone singing in tune from the same page in the same hymnal, pigs will fly and someone will see it and say, I don't believe it. And the chaos will begin again. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, yes. Reverend Glenn, you hit the ball out of the park.